Okay, can everybody hear me? I may or may not need this microphone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tamara Tatishan. I'm the CEO of the Callaway Chamber of Commerce, and we just want to thank you tonight for attending the first of 3 candidate forums for Callaway County. I'd like to extend a special thank you to all of our local candidates who have taken the time to be here tonight. By participating in this forum, you're giving the citizens of Callaway County an opportunity to not only put a face with the name, but also to learn more about your thoughts, your priorities, and goals for the offices you are seeking. But you know, running for office, it's not an easy task. It takes a lot of dedication, courage, and grit, and I am encouraged to see so many individuals willing to serve this community, whether it's at the city, the county, the state, or the federal level. So tonight's forum will primarily focus on our county level races, particularly the candidates that are running for the presiding commissioner. We're also pleased to have some of our representatives for several state level races with us this evening. And then our second forum that we have that will be held on July 16th at the Avaz Community Center will focus primarily on the state level. And then our following one for July 20th that will be held at Holt Summit will focus on all of them, just kind of to round us out from all 3 of these forums. We had a lot of questions that were submitted for our candidates for presiding commissioner. We want to make sure that we do some focus on that, and then we also are able to focus our attention on those state levels. So make sure that you mark your calendar to attend those. So before we begin, I'd like to go over a few guidelines for our audience first. Our questions tonight for this forum were accepted from May 11th through June 8th. So we will not be taking any questions from the audience this evening. We have plenty of questions and even more than we could actually handle in an hour and a half period of time. I'd like you to please silence your cell phones. There's no need to record this event either. We have our marketing person from the Callaway Chamber of Commerce that's doing a live Facebook for us tonight on the Callaway Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. So you're welcome to go out and review that after. So no need to record, no need to take pictures. We have all that covered for you this evening. This will allow you all to sit back, listen, understand what the candidates are saying, and I hope tonight that you are able to learn more about these candidates that are here. We also ask that everyone remain respectful throughout the evening. Please do not interrupt while candidates are speaking. If you need to take a phone call, please wait until their time is up. They have a very narrow amount of time. We actually have a clock up here, and we don't want them to be distracted. So if you need to take a call, please wait till the buzzer sounds and then go out the back door over here. Thank you in advance for your cooperation and respect for all of these candidates, because this is hard, sitting up here in front of everyone and answering questions, so thank you so much. So, for our candidates, we will begin with opening statements. Each candidate will have 5 minutes to introduce themselves and share why they are seeking the office. If they've been in office and they want to share some success, please do so. We'd love to hear that, but you will have 5 minutes. This will be monitored, so your 5 minutes will be monitored, and when the buzzer sounds, so here's our clock. Can everybody up here see it? So you should be able to hear the buzzer whenever it goes off, but this is your timekeeper throughout the evening. And so when the buzzer sounds, the time has concluded, so we're going to move on to the next candidate. This portion will also include county candidates who are running unopposed. So we do have a couple up here tonight. Thank you all for coming and just giving us a few minutes of your time to talk about your office and the things that you have accomplished in that office. So, also, following the introductions, we will move into a series of prepared questions. I will announce the allotted time for each response. We have some 2-minute questions and we have some 1-minute questions. Those questions will be focused on the presiding commissioner positions. So the 4 that are in the middle, y'all are the ones that are going to be getting to answer the questions that we have this evening. As with the opening statements, the buzzer will signal when your time has expired. So if you have 2 minutes, when that buzzer sounds, your 2 minutes is over. To ensure fairness, we will rotate the order of responses so that each candidate for presiding commissioner has the opportunity to answer first during different questions. And I say opportunity, most of you are like, great, I won't have to answer first every single time. So that's going to help everybody out. But again, thank you all so much to our candidates for your willing to serve, to everyone in attendance for being here tonight. And so we're going to get started with 5 minutes, and we're going to start right down here at this end.
Hello everyone, my name is Riley Page. I'm currently serving my first term as the county auditor. I'm running unopposed for my second term, but I just wanted to come up and talk a little bit about what I do. Primarily what I do is the accounting work for the county. Some of the big things I do is the annual county audit. We are a second-class county, so we are audited every year. I prepare the annual budget, and I prepare the annual financial statement. I love my job, it's a great job, and I appreciate the support I received my first term, and I'm looking forward to serving my next. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessica Sliz. I'm running for House District 49 here in Callaway County. I grew up here and my family goes back over 100 years from being from Callaway County. I am running because this is my community and this is our community. I want to see my son be raised here in a prosperous community just like I was. I was taught the basic values of you always show up for your neighbors, you always open the door for your elders. And that's the kind of community we've always had. We have outside interests that are looking to come into Callaway County, and I feel that Callaway County is not being represented as it should. When these outside businesses come to knock on our door, it should be our representative standing in that doorway, asking the hard questions, not passing that on to our community members to stand up for it. As a representative, I also feel that it's important to have health care and strong schools in Callaway County. Schools are where we all go for football games on Friday night. We reminisce about the days when we walked the halls to our children, and they'll grow up to walk those halls too, hopefully. I know that I am, probably 3rd generation at South Callaway, graduating from there, and my son will be a 4th graduating from South Callaway. I think Callaway County has so much to offer, and that's many times why we're targeted from these big businesses, is because they see such a loving, open community. But we're loving and open when we get a fair deal. We are the show me state. We want them to show us what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and protect the citizens the whole way. So that's a little bit about me and what I am running on. Really, I'm running on your values, not mine. This is a movement of the people of Callaway County. I'd love to talk to anybody who has any questions afterwards, if camera will allow. But yeah, I thank you all so much for coming tonight, for showing up. And like I said, I'm running for House District 49 for the families who make Missouri work. And that's where I stand on a lot of it. So thank you so much.
Hello. Tom. Can you hear me? Okay. My name's Larry Robinson. I'm from Callaway County, and I got a lot of ideas that I'd like to run across with the commissioners. And like I said, I'm from here, and I want to see this county prosper in the near future. We have lost a lot of jobs around here, and since I was a little kid, we got a perfect county. We're between Jeff City and Columbia. We can bring manufacturing and distribution to this county and bring jobs here, to keep people here, to spend here. And like I said, I got a lot of ideas, and I'd like to run by the commissioners. Thank you very much.
I've got a poem to start off with tonight, folks. Out the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my hand is bloody, but I'm mad. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged punishment to scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. America's most essential industry is agriculture, and I possess a bachelor's degree in agriculture from the University of Missouri in Columbia. My name is Mike Connor, and I'm running for presiding commissioner of Callaway County. My late father, John Connor, was Eastern District Commissioner back in the late 80s. And the scenario was they considered him a good man. And I'm a good man, like father, like son. My priorities are updating aged infrastructure, roads and bridges, looking at health, county health and social needs, and keeping a close eye on the growth of Callaway County's agriculture and business economy. Callaway County is a perfect mix of global global history. And I just want to say that we have vibrant global shopping here. I primarily plan on talking about growth of the company, growth of this county and everything. But I just want to say that I'm running for presiding commissioner of Callaway County. I'm Mike Connor, and I appreciate your vote. The primary is in August 4th, and then the second week of November, Super Tuesday. I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Clay Chisholm. I too am a lifelong resident of Callaway County, primarily in the Evalls area. My family has been devoted to public service, and I am here to continue that tradition. I spent 23 years at the sheriff's office, working myself all the way up from detention officer to sheriff. My wife has been with the state over 15 years and is the Northeast Director for the State Children's Division. My mother, who's in the audience, who I have great admiration for, served 7 terms as your county treasurer. I have a master's degree in administration, but instead of chasing the big dollars in the private sector, serving the public in the public sector has always been what I believe in. I want to serve the people. I believe that as presiding commissioner, I should honor and respect the values and the wishes of those in Callaway County. What I've always heard through my years, my decades in the trenches, and now on the campaign trail is Callaway County citizens want limited government. They want a county government that is focused on the core missions: public safety, public safety, health, and public infrastructure. Any other dime that is being spent elsewhere should be more scrutinized than ever. There's no secret, folks, that budget cuts are coming. When you start seeing budget cuts on the state level, that trickles down to the local level. It happens every time. It's coming. If you haven't read the newspaper, it's coming. We need to make sure that we have a presiding commissioner moving forward, is willing to make the tough decisions, stand up for what's right, make sure the county progresses as the way it should, all while still focusing on a limited government with a strong focus on its core missions. I appreciate your support. If anyone has any questions, look me up on that board, track me down, get a hold of me. I'm happy to answer any question anyone has. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Rob Barnes. Pleasure to get a moment to address this group. Look forward to continuing these conversations in the coming weeks. Probably have an unusual background that has brought me to this place and time. For about 27, 28 years, I've been heavily involved in Callaway County surrounding areas. I've been the internet guy, so to speak. Last 9 years, I've been very focused here with Callaway, for Callaway Electric. It's kind of a strange mission, calling, so to speak, because I always thought that those efforts to keep this county kind of on a cutting edge would ensure that folks would live here, businesses would come here, and I do believe that those efforts have shown fruit over the past few years. I think I bring, again, a different or an interesting perspective, certainly from a business perspective. Been an executive here for about 9 years. Worked with some very large budgets, managed some very large projects, a good number of people, faced keeping up with the regulatory hurdles that this particular brings with it. But it's a very business-minded perspective, and I do believe that that'll be a nice fit as presiding commissioner here in Callaway County. As presiding commissioner, I would look very much forward to working with the team of associates that are here tonight. I do appreciate Mr. Scott and Mr. Warfield for their service. I hope to do half as good as Mr. Youngerman and some of the folks that came before him. I think they've done an excellent job, and I think following their leadership would be a good way to proceed. I certainly don't bring any particular ego to the job. I like working with people. I like the conversation. I like the debate. I'm able to connect and communicate with folks from a wide variety of backgrounds, and I appreciate their stories, and I appreciate hearing about their concerns. Again, I look forward to serving this county if these folks, if the voters, you guys being one of them, choose to put me in that position. I'll do my best. I will be mindful of your concerns, because at the end of the day, this is not about me. This is about serving you, and I look forward to doing so. Thank you.
My name is Christine Kleindens, and I want to thank you all for allowing me to serve you for the last 16 years. My background is in title insurance. I was in the title insurance industry for 15 years in Columbia. I worked at Boone Central Title Company and part-time at Boyd & Boyd. So I did bring a lot of experience to the recorder's office, and I absolutely love my job. We deal with deeds, transfer deeds, is the easiest way to call it, and marriage licenses. One of the major successes that I feel like our office has had is when I took office in 2011, the documents were on they're searchable from 1996 forward. Our office has worked diligently backwards to get deeds on record and we're back to 1954. And I feel like that's a really huge success because the title companies have to do at least a 45-year search. For every property that transfers, they have to do at least a 45-year search. Sometimes they do have to go all the way back to the patent, which is signed by the President of the United States, and there are some originals in my office, the land patents. So when we do tours for the schools, I always get one out and show the kids an original patent signed by the President of the United States with our presidential seal. So that's really super great. I love doing that. But right now, our office is getting a lot of calls from people that are worried about deed fraud, and it is happening. I haven't heard of anything in Callaway County yet, but it is a lot in Boone. I did bring some brochures about signing up for deed fraud, that you can receive an email if you sign an easement, if you sign a deed, if you sign a deed of trust, anything you would sign, you would get an email stating that there's been something in your name recorded in Callaway County. So if anybody wants these, I want to know that they're available. And I do have a lot of people, when they come into my office, we give them these brochures as well to explain it. If you hear a lot about title lock, I personally feel like that's a waste of money, because they're really gonna call the recorder of deeds or have our service to find out, and so I feel like it's a waste of money. This is a free service that our software company offers. So I wanted to let you know about that. I am on the ballot, so I will be on the ballot in August and November, and I really appreciate your vote again. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Schulte, and it's been my honor to be the state representative for District 49 for the past 4 years. I originally ran on a platform for defending constitutional rights, enacting pro-life policies, opposing new taxes, empowering parents and students, and supporting veterans and law enforcement. In the past 4 years, I voted for the most recent bill that was called the Born Alive Bill, in which medical personnel are required to provide life-saving support for any baby that is born alive during an abortion attempt. I'll note that the Democrat Party all voted against it. I opposed new taxes. This year we lowered the budget in Missouri by $4 billion. It went from $54 billion down to $50 billion. I supported school choice, voted for banning transgender males in female sports, female showers, and female bathrooms. That one also met a lot of opposition from the other side. But I also voted for the largest pay raise in the history of school teachers. We raised their minimum base pay across the state to $40,000, and tenure or people with 5 years or more had a minimum of $48,000. We increased the foundation formula by $800 million. And we fully funded school transportation for all districts in the state. I served on 4 committees this past 2 years. I was selected to be the vice chair of the Veterans Committee, which passed numerous bills to help our veterans. I was the vice chair of the Crime and Public Safety Committee. I co-sponsored the anti-trafficking bill that the governor signed into law this year, working against trafficking, illegal trafficking of children. I've also served on the Utilities Committee and the Agriculture Committee, helping to support our community in those 2 areas. Again, I want to thank you for your support and vote, and it's been a true honor, and I look forward to serving 2 more years.
All right. How y'all doing? Fun night, right? We're going to find out a lot about the candidates tonight. That's great stuff. My name is John Wells. I'm from Whole Summit, just down the road. And I'm running for Senate District 10. Senate District 10 is Callaway County. It also includes Montgomery County, Lincoln County, Pike County, and a little sliver of St. Charles. I was up in St. Charles about a week ago. We're visiting with some of those folks. I'm a lifelong Missourian. I was born and raised in Columbia, Missouri. My father moved there from Arkansas before I was born. And he was a public school administrator, an elementary school principal for about 30 years in Columbia. And he believed in the value of education and instilled that value in his 4 children. I'm the last of those 4. He made sure that all of us went to college, And fortunately, I was able to go on and get a master's degree in public administration while I worked for the state. For about 30 years, I've been a state employee. That's how I spent my career in state service, working for the state of Missouri. That included about 22 years with the Missouri Lottery. I spent about 5 years with the Missouri House of Representatives, even worked with Jim Schulte here a little bit. I was at the University of Missouri System for a year. I taught state employees about retirement at Mosher's for a year. Last year, I taught digital marketing at State Technical College in Missouri. So, I might know a few things about our state. I love the state so much, as a matter of fact, I got it tattooed on my arm. Right there, how about that? Being the governor, we got something in common. Or the former governor, excuse me. I believe that government should serve the people. Not the other way around, it should serve the people, and all people, not just rich people, right? Our forefathers gave us our guiding star, and they left it implanted in the state capitol building itself. If you go to Jefferson City, take a look at the state capitol, there's all kinds of great artwork all over the building. And in fact, the words are carved on the outside of the building. They're embedded in our state seal. It's some Latin words. Salus populi suprema lest esto. It means, let the welfare of the people be the supreme law. So that's what government, I think, is supposed to do, serve the people. So I am asking for your vote this fall, November, so that I can go to Jefferson City and serve the people. I think too often in the last couple decades, what we've seen is politicians that go to Jefferson City and think that they know better than us, right? They know better than the people. They try to overturn the will of the people, and they try to do things that actually are opposed to our welfare, our beneficial. So I'm asking for your vote this fall so that I can go to Jefferson City to represent you, a real vote, a real voice for the people who's willing to stand up to our governor and our majority party right now and say no when it's appropriate. And say no to bad decisions, bad ideas, and people who aren't qualified for the jobs that they're being asked to do. It's a little bit different than what we've had in the last couple decades. And I know maybe voting for a Democrat is a hard choice for some people, but when you're voting for a person, you're voting for that person because you believe that they're going to make good decisions. I think that I've shown with my career in public service, with my history as a state of a true Missourian, that I can be that voice for you in Jefferson City. So, learn more about me, check out my website. It's mocommonsense.com. It's a blog I've had for a long time. It actually went away. Now it's back. You can find out more about me and my family, my history here in the state. And make sure you vote this fall. There's a couple of big important issues on the primary ballot in August, where we're also choosing some of the people here that will represent you on the November ballot. And then obviously a vote in November is a chance to send me to Jefferson City. So I appreciate your time, and I look forward to more conversations with you in the future. Thank you.
Okay, so if we have any candidates here besides the presiding commissioner that would like to go to a seat out there, or you're welcome to sit up here. Okay, can everybody hear me? Loud and clear? Goodness. Okay. I'll try to use my quiet voice. Can you hear me really good back there, Gary? All right. All right, so these questions here are... Do you hear me still? Yeah. Okay. So these questions are 2-minute questions, so we're going to hit the timer for 2 minutes. We're going to start with Mike Connor. The question is, and so I will read the question one time, and if you need me to repeat the question and when it gets to you, please let me know, and I'll do that before the timer starts, okay? Okay, economic development is vital to the future of Callaway County. As presiding commissioner, how would you support economic development, particularly in the areas of business recruitment, retention, expansion, and small business development.
Well, economic development is very important for Callaway County. One thing is billion-dollar data centers are thinking about coming into our area. And they bring a lot of stuff with them, like noise, and they use a lot of water. Basically they use a lot of farmland. But they are nationwide right now. As far as economic development, we do not have any zoning and planning in Callaway at the moment. They've talked about it for years, but we do not have a plan in that area right now. As far as recruiting, I'm sure that people across the country research parts of this part of the country all the time, especially with the Churchill Memorial or global history there. And basically, the more recruiting we do, the better it'll be for our county, as far as Callaway County economy, Callaway County's community, and Callaway County's set of values.
Great topic. I will follow up and hit on the data centers that Mr. Connor brought up. I believe that's probably an underlying part of this question. Data centers are looking for 4 things. They're looking for no planning and zoning, which the county does not have, and I do not believe P&Z is the answer. They're looking for electricity. Callaway County has that. We have 2 main lines running through the Kingdom City Hatton area where this subject discussion is occurring. They're looking for NDAs. They want county commissions to sign non-disclosure agreements so they can talk about how to give away your tax dollars. I have 0 interest in signing an NDA with a billionaire corporation who's looking out for no one but themselves and not the citizens of Callaway County. They're also looking for tax abatements. They want a free ride. They want to go to whatever county won't make them pay their taxes. And honestly, I don't agree with that. Do I think there are times and places for tax incentives to some degree? Absolutely. We have small business owners in Callaway County who have worked through blood, sweat, and tears to grow their businesses and never once got a dime off their taxes in Callaway County, nor have they asked. I simply do not believe that we should give away 75, 90% of tax dollars to make billionaires richer. That's not me. So again, I don't believe P&Z is the answer because P&Z affects the whole county. Well, a lot of people have a misunderstanding about you cannot P&Z one farmer, one neighborhood, or one business. It's an all or none. The P&Z situation in Hatton, Kingdom City punishes people in Tebbets and Guthrie. And I just don't think that's fair. So I'm all about working with other agencies such as the Chamber, Department of Economic Development, but I have no interest in supporting billionaire welfare.
The last thing I want anybody in this group that's here tonight to leave thinking that our commission has signed an NDA. That's not true. I think it's actually kind of dangerous to float that as a concept. And I'll leave that right there. And I agree with Mr. Chisholm. I don't think there's a place for commissioners signing an NDA. I mean, let's face it, sunshine law is going to preempt. And to me, an NDA is almost pointless. Jim, I'm actually going to answer your question, and I don't mean to avoid the data center topic. I hope there's a chance to come back to that. But how would I, as presiding commissioner, support economic development in Callaway County? I think the first thing I can do is stand right next to the folks that are already working on economic development, and a lot of that happens in your office. I certainly don't think it's beneficial to start an ancillary effort to bring business to our community, and in essence, kind of working against the folks, excuse me, that are hard at the task already. my intent would be to stand right beside the folks that are working very hard on that topic and do everything I can from the presiding commissioner seat to find successes in that realm. Because I do want more business to come to this county. I also would like to see some housing come. Again, I'm going to yield on the data center topic, and hopefully we get a chance to come back to it. I see I'm about out of time. So.
Hitting on the data centers, I'm not for them. I don't think it's a good development for Callaway County. But I know there ain't been no NDA signed. I've known some property owners that they have talked to, and I don't believe the county commissioners have signed any such thing. And for the electric and the water usage, there's pros and cons both ways on that. It depends on how you see it. I'm not for using all the water and electric. There's two, Ameren UE, REA, and they'll have to build a better grid. And I call them silver-tongued devils. They tell you what you want to hear, but it ain't what it's going to be. If the commission can get that all in writing, that'd be a whole lot better. And for the development of the county, I think the commissioners are working to help the community get stronger for the future. If that data center does come through, it will employ some people. I ain't for the tax abatements, that big of tax abatements. There is incentives for certain companies, manufacturing, distribution to come to the county. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna just use this microphone, it's not as bad. Okay. So our next question is regarding workforce. So workforce availability continues to be a challenge for many employers in Callaway County. It's something that we as the chamber hear about every single day. What role should county government play in supporting workforce development and retaining our young professionals?
Thank you. Going back to the concept of limited government, I do not foresee the county opening any new offices, adding additional staff, etc. What I see is collaboration with agencies, whether they're private, nonprofit, or public, moving forward to support that goal. When you collaborate with other agencies and collaborate with other programs that are there, it saves tax dollars. When you duplicate resources, you're wasting tax dollars. So my answer to that is, I would be most interested in working with local nonprofits or private organizations such as the Chamber, State Department of Economic Development. I know there's task forces on the state level. While I was sheriff, I spent days down at the state capitol advocating for law enforcement and public safety issues. And Jeff City's nothing but a 20-minute drive, and I'm not afraid of the Capitol, and I would be more than happy to go down there and advocate for workforce development. So absolutely, I support it, but what you're not going to hear out of my mouth is growing county government to support it, but instead using our existing tax dollars in Callaway County to collaborate with other agencies that are already working on that issue to better the end result. Thank you.
I believe I touched on this just a moment ago, or at least the word came out of my mouth, and that's housing. I think by and large people want to live where they work. And I know that's tough in our county for a lot of folks, so they're living in Columbia or pretty close to Columbia, pretty close to Jeff City. And the attraction of jobs in those communities is pretty strong. I do think that there's some ways to encourage housing developments to occur in the county, and I'm not suggesting that would be done, out of the pocketbook of Callaway County. But I do think there are some developers that would, if some of the upfront costs was structured in a way where they weren't writing the check fully up front, we would see a little bit more development happening here. I think that starts with some conversations with some of those developers. I know a good number. I've had the opportunity to work with a good number because we put a lot of fiber in many of those. It's a conversation possibly between, either the city of Fulton, Callaway 2, Callaway 1, your electric providers, see if there's some structure that couldn't be found, again, to kind of offset some of those upfront initial costs. I think that's a good place to start. And again, from there, it's understanding the needs of the jobs that are in the community. State Tech's a great resource. Tailoring training jobs or training sessions for some of those needs.
I don't think it's the place for the commission to give money. It's nonprofit organizations like the Chamber. I know Tamara's brought in businesses here in Callaway County. And for development, need to get a developer involved and see what we need to do for jobs here, better paying jobs to keep the people here so they're not going to Mexico, Columbia, or Jeff City to work. They can spend here. And, sorry about that. The developer can we can all work together, the commission, developer, the chamber, nonprofit organizations, and we can work with the schools in Callaway County and get a workforce, a young workforce that's willing to get out and work for a good wage and make a living here in Callaway County where they wouldn't have to move away and raise a family here in the county. Thank you.
I just want to start off by saying that we do have really good businesses that I will support as presiding commissioner of Callaway County. We have vibrant shopping, local shopping. I say vibrant local shopping that really boosts our economy here in Callaway County. As far as jobs, completely for engaging in workforce development all the way down the line. And like I said, it goes back to recruiting companies. I know, for example, Walmart does employ quite a few people. The nuclear plant employs quite a few people. And if we just recruit a little bit more, I think that'll create jobs for us. And we'll just grow from there.
Okay, so our next question is looking ahead 10 to 20 years. What is your vision for Callaway County? How would you balance preserving the traditions and character of our community while guiding the county towards future economic growth and opportunity?
Well, that's a mouthful, Tamara. think Callaway County is pretty proud of its legacy. We continuing to celebrate where we've come from, I think is part of how you hang on to your legacy. Whether that's, remembering, the Churchill Memorial and all that it represents, whether that's something as simple as street fair, which many got to enjoy this past weekend, maybe the weekend before, I'm losing track. I think a conscientious effort to remember and celebrate, who we are, where we came from, will help, remember that in 10 or 20 years. Certainly, as through the economic development channels to grow businesses and to get more people living and working in Callaway County, I guess that's where the problem potentially sets in of folks coming here that don't recognize or remember because they weren't here. But again, I think it's through a community effort of again remembering to celebrate, a lot of where we've come from. We'll start educating those folks, to who we are and what we represent, and to not lose sight of our identity. I guess I'll yield my 3 seconds.
I think it all starts with our youth right now. We need to set up stuff for our youth so that they know the heritage and the ethics of the Callaway County. You call us Callawagians. That's what most of us are. And if you get a value in the youth right now, rather than them looking at their phones every day or iPads, and get them out here where they're socializing, even get them on field trips, show them what Callaway County was. I think they will remember that in 10 to 20 years, and I think the county will be better off if we started a youth program somehow here for the county. And that's it.
I just want to say that, I'm almost to my speech now. Callaway County is a perfect mix of global history. Scenic sites, outdoors, escapes, and Callaway County has a nice small town charm to it. And as I mentioned a while ago, we have vibrant shopping, local shopping, all over the place. We have some good shopping in Callaway County. And I think the public relations that publicize that actually increase some of our abilities to do business with the people that live here in Callaway. But right now, we'll just try to support them as much as we can. And 10 to 15 years from now, boy, I hope I'm still around. But I'm sure the county courthouse will still be there. As far as Fulton, Missouri, and the rest of Callaway County, all the way to Tanglewood, to Hales Prairie, down to Mocaine, and down the whole summit. I'm sure all those townships will still be in the Callaway County. Thank you.
I'm going to put a different spin on this than my fellow candidates, who I do have the utmost respect for. I believe it's easy to get away from what the primary job of a county commissioner is. The number one everyday job of the county commission is to take care of the county budget. Yes, there's going to be issues that come up that are hot button issues that come to light, but the core number one day of the Callaway County Commission is to take care of the budget. And when I look at what can be done now to help this county 10 to 20 years from now, is to make sure that the county's budget is solid and it's stable and it's fluent moving forward. I don't believe it's the county government's responsibility to take care or promote social issues or such in the county. I go back to what I said earlier, is the commission should stick to their core mission of public infrastructure, taking care of that, public safety, health, and let the free market take care of itself. I am all about limited government and not growing the courthouse more into people's business. Thank you.
Okay, so for our next question, from severe weather and natural disasters to public health emergencies and infrastructure failures, what steps should Callaway County take to improve emergency preparedness, and what role would you play as commissioner in supporting those efforts?
Well, as a commissioner, you need to give the emergency personnel everything they need at hand reach, so that if there's any natural disaster, they can fall right into it. The commissioners that just oversee the budget to make sure that the emergency personnel is adequate, their vehicles, all the gear that they need, and that's it.
Well, you used to say that practice makes perfect, but I'm a firm believer that that's not always true. But if we go through the routine, you know, kind of keep the people in Callaway County about what we do in procedures in case something like that came up, I think that would really be beneficial. And not only locally, but the whole county wide. And as presiding commissioners, I'd probably make that my goal of alerting people to what could possibly happen in case of a weather emergency or whatever may happen. But I would focus on that.
So I have 23 years of intimate knowledge of this subject with the county as far as emergency management, which also leads into the Joint Communication Center and 911. I'm going to open a can of worms tonight and tell you that the county's 911 and communication center's in serious trouble. We've been playing kick the can for several years now, and kick the can needs to stop being played. Our 911 center's been operating many days at less than 50% staffing. If there's any emergency in the county right now, I think that's a pretty big emergency. When you have people from the courthouse working part-time in 911 just to get the 911 calls to be answered, that's an emergency in itself. Moving forward, if I'm elected to county commission, I sure hope to work with Mr. Scott and Mr. Warfield day one and start looking at short-term and long-term plans to fix the issues we have at 911, with both the staffing issues and the infrastructure. Many times in the last year, the 911 systems went down and your 911 calls went to another county because our infrastructure is failing. It's old, it's antiquated, it's out of date. It's time to quit playing kick the can and look at short-term and long-term planning to fix the 911 call center you call when your family needs help.
I guess I'll piggyback there a little bit. I really wasn't aware that dispatch was as short-staffed as they were. They're working some pretty long shifts trying to get through. I would assume part of the issue, well, one, we know it's a tough job to do. Maybe another contributing factor to the difficulty in recruiting people there is, pretty well operating out of a basement facility. I don't think those folks get to see the light of day except for maybe a few minutes during very long shifts. I think that's a fair point that Mr. Chisholm raises, that needing to do something within within 911 dispatch is probably pretty high on the priority list, and I would be surprised to learn, frankly, if that's not a priority already for the existing commission. I think from an emergency preparedness perspective, the routine, regular training exercises that go on are very beneficial to Callaway County and the folks that are involved in seeing us through events like that. I think Mike's right. Practice does make perfect. There's a reason why those exercises are held, and there's things that could happen in our county, which even makes those exercises more important. Are they adequate? I guess where I stand here today, knowing what I know, I believe so. Certainly, that would be something that would be looked at, and if not, we would ramp up those exercises.
As you can all see, I have been heavily loaded with questions, so they're a mouthful. Okay, so as commissioner, as presiding commissioner, how would you ensure transparency in the budgeting process so taxpayers understand how their money is being spent?
Well, like Mr. Chisholm said, the budget is a really big decision made every year. And keeping the public aware of what's going on, what the numbers are, I know the Fulton Sun, we can provide some information through that, through radio contact, and maybe even through TV in the Jeff City station or Columbia station, KFAL of course. But it's just keeping people informed about what's going on and being transparent that way. So there's no surprises, for people or anything like that. But, and being accountable and susceptible to being transparent. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm all about meeting transparency. One of my two jobs at the moment is working for a city government. I'm very well versed on the need for public meetings and public transparency and recognizing the open records law, which is many times referred to as the Missouri Sunshine Law. One thing I would like to do, if elected presiding commissioner, is have a conversation with Mr. Warfield and Mr. Scott to see if we can get on board to not always having county meetings Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. It's hard for a member of the working public, especially if they have children or other needs in their lives, to attend a meeting, especially if it's of importance, between 8 and 4:30 Monday through Friday. It's just not doable for a lot of families. Lots of people can't make a meeting if they really wanted to, especially if it's of a significant topic. Another thing I would like to see done is an increased an increased lead time on the meeting notices. Missouri law requires a 24-hour notice of a public meeting, and currently that's what we're given, about 24 hours. That's what the law requires, and that's what's being done, but I would like to increase that. If we could give the citizens a little more lead time so they can see that a meeting's coming up that they may feel inclined to attend, they have more time to make the arrangements so that they can attend. Lots of governments have moved into today's world, and they post their budgets online. Every penny of their budget can be found online. I absolutely have no objection to that. If you've heard me say it once, if you've heard me say it twice, if you've heard me say it 3 times, the number one responsibility of the county commission is the county budget, period.
I believe it's on Rhonda Miller's website. The budget is published out there, free for all to see. One of the things that I used to do, and I hope I'm not saying something that's not actually true. Back in the day, the couple of years I spent at the city of Fulton, one of my responsibilities was to assemble, a $40 million budget for the city of Fulton. And there was a good practice, I think, that we followed, and this is where I'm not sure, maybe misspeaking. One of the things that was pretty integral when we'd be budgeting for capital expenditures was to always write a short paragraph as to what that expenditure was, not just a line item in the budget. Always felt that was, if folks would download the budget, look at it, those maybe didn't have time to come to a meeting. It was pretty transparent as to what that money was being spent for. I don't think the current commission is doing anything to try to hide expenditures. I think they're seeking input across departments and offices to bring those budgets together. While I don't know exactly how many meetings are held to accomplish all that, I'm going to guess it's more than one or two. If members of the public, felt like they weren't getting good, clear information, that I think would be a pretty simple task to solve, and firstly, just making the commission aware that, somehow you don't feel like you're getting the information you need. Because I think the current system works pretty well, but not against approving.
On the transparency, I think it's like they were saying, it's online, but it needs to be on social media. But I think it needs a 48-hour instead of a 24-hour, so people can see it. Because 24 hours, sometimes they can't get to it right away. But if they know more in advance, they can get there. And there really isn't a newspaper no more, but there's TV channels, there's radio, and so that everybody can put their input on the budget also. And
Okay, so this will be our last 2-minute question. How will you ensure that Callaway County has a strong voice in Jefferson City and that our residents' concerns are heard by state leaders?
So I'm sorry if I repeat myself, but I will reiterate. During my term as sheriff, my second term, I served 2 years as the legislative chair for the Missouri Sheriff's Association. That created lots of days and late nights at the state capitol, January through May, while they were in session. Spoke in many hearings, spoke with many representatives, senators, the governor himself. I am no stranger to the Capitol in Jefferson City. I'm not afraid of it. I know the ins and outs. I am most comfortable going down there and speaking on the behalf of the citizens of Callaway County, whether someone to hear it or not. I represent Callaway County, and again, I was there. That's the best answer I have, is I was there, I've done it, and I'll do it again. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you certainly have to spend time in Jeff City if you're going to try to look after the interest of Callaway County. Some wise person down there one day told me that, you don't come tell us what you think, what you feel. We don't know. We'll guess, and they do. It's been kind of fascinating through this process, and I don't name names to name names necessarily, but you know, through some of this campaigning has lent itself, to spend, you know, some really off hours, you know, with a representative or two. You know, sometimes we're talking turkey hunting, which I know nothing about, but, you know, sometimes we're talking issues as well. But, you know, 27, 28 years, you know, that's always been a part of what I've done. You know, I was advocating for a different topic. At that time, it was, you know, might have been telephone service or broadband service. Maybe today it's electric service, and or again, broadband. You know, it's really not very difficult to get a vehicle and drive to Jeff City. You know, spend some time with the elected officials and share with them what's on your mind. I have generally found most all of them to be very receptive. You know, I might not get what I want, but you know, respectfully they'll listen and you know, we'll have a conversation. So I do believe that is part of the commission's efforts today, very regularly to spend time there in Jeff City, and we see no reason why that would not continue when I serve as presiding commissioner.
I would go down to the state capitol and speak what I needed to speak with who I needed to. And if that didn't work, be persistent, keep going back to the state until somebody hears you. And if they still don't hear you, take some citizens with you so that they know that you mean there's something concerning the citizens of Callaway County. And I know the commissioners are going down there right now over this data center, or they have been in the past here. And I don't know if they're being heard yet or not, but I think there's some citizens that's ready to go down there to be heard. And I think everybody could team together and get down there and get the message to the representatives and stuff. Thank you.
Well, I'm no stranger to Jeff City either. I was probably in the state capitol every day over a period of years when I worked for the Department of Revenue in the Truman Building. And whether they were in session or not, they always came out in the hall and you get to talk to those people. Like I said, like Rob said, they're not too easy, not too difficult to approach on certain topics. But like I said, I think that Jessica and John are both going to do outstanding jobs when they get over there. And I appreciate their volunteering for a job that has a lot of accountability needed for and transparency. And hope they'll have the oversight when they get in over there. Good luck again.
Okay, we're gonna give Avery just a second to do the 1 minute, because we're gonna start those 1 minute questions now. We've got about 22 minutes left, so we're gonna try to get as many as we can in, and then we will allow our candidates to kind of have a follow-up, couple of minutes to say anything they need to say.
I can use my phone and give you a 10-second.
Okay, so we're gonna, she's gonna give you a 10-second time, so Beth is gonna be the 10-second, and it'll make a little ding noise on your phone right whenever it's finished. All right, so the first 1 minute question is, what professional, volunteer, or public service experience has best prepared you for the role of presiding commissioner, and how will those experiences influence your leadership if elected?
And I think you said professional or volunteer. Let me cover all of that in 1 minute. Touched on it earlier, you know, I've enjoyed the last 9 years here at Callaway Electric, really getting to oversee a very large fiber project. All work I had done before, but this time got to do so at a different level, more of an executive level. I wasn't any longer the guy on the ground, but that gave me exposure to project management, planning, budgeting, contract negotiations, supervising employees, really the whole gamut. I still had a boss to answer to. We all have a boss to answer to somewhere. Was given quite a bit of latitude to drive that project, and pretty proud of that accomplishment, and probably as much as proud as the impact that it had on Callaway County. So, I think that's my professional experience. I think that prepares me well.
Go ahead whenever, I'll start.
A lot of people know me in this county. I grew up in the construction world. I was made a superintendent over 16 men when I was 18 years old. And that was my profession. I went out, I bid jobs. I went and talked to city halls. I worked out of the state, Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, all over Missouri. I've had to balance budgets on multi-million-dollar projects. And I had to work with the men out in the field also. And that gives me quite a bit of experience on the work structure and balancing the budget.
I just want to emphasize one more time that my late father, John Connor, was an East District Commissioner back in the late 80s. And he had a lot of influence on me and my two brothers as far as campaigning and handling county issues. The consensus was that he was a good man. And I'm a good man, like father, like son, right? And I'd like to go on that idea that I can carry the legacy on as presiding commissioner of Callaway County and make that work positively for me in the years to come. Thank you.
Best analogy I can use it, the proof in the pudding. At the sheriff's office in 2010, I became the grants administrator, handled tens of thousands of dollars of state and federal grants. When I became sheriff in 2017, proceeding the next 6.5 years, I had the largest section of the county budget pie, and I had the largest amount of personnel. Not once did I get in trouble with the county auditor. Not once did I get complained to the state auditor. Never had any bad audits. I took care of the pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, and on up above. Most recently, I've worked in the city government sector, where money's tighter than ever. I've also worked in the private sector the last 2 years for a very successful small business. And reverting back to something I said earlier, I've learned what blood, sweat, and tears are in running a small business in Callaway County. I have the budget experience. I appreciate your vote.
Okay, so every leader has a different approach to decision making and working with others. How would you describe your leadership style and how it will help you effectively serve the citizens of Callaway County while you work with your fellow elected officials, county employees, and county community partners?
Repeat that again.
Every leader has a different approach to decision making and working with others. How would you describe your leadership style and how will it help you effectively serve the citizens of Callaway County and work with fellow elected officials, county employees, and community partners?
First of all, you got to be neutral to listen to individual out here that comes to you that has complaints, and then with the other commissioners, you gotta find an equal ground to make everybody happy. You're not gonna always make everybody happy on any decision making, but you go with the best choice that you got at the time. My experience has been, if you talk to them one-on-one and see what they want, it's usually pretty easy to figure out. Don't be hard-headed and just one-sided. You gotta see both sides of the story to get anything accomplished. Thank you.
I had a conversation a couple weeks ago with Mr. Steve Hobbs. He started out as a state rep over in Audrain, then he was presiding commissioner for Audrain for 4 years. Now he's head of the commissioners across the state of Missouri. And I said, Steve, what is it that it takes to be a presiding commissioner? What is it? And he said in one word, listen. And I talked to Gary a little bit about this, and he passed that on to me. Just listen to what people are telling you. And that can go a long ways in formulating solutions later on. But make sure you have all the facts and figures correct, and then go on from there.
To answer the question directly, I would use one word: collaboration. That's my answer. Now let me expand on that. I think in the community there's some confusion as to what the role of the county commission is. Most of the county employees actually answer to another county elect. The county commission does not control the day-to-day operations of all of the offices that have another elect: assessor, treasurer, sheriff, county clerk, the list goes on. What the county commission does have day-to-day control over is 911, EMA, emergency management, health, and road and bridge. You have to put the right people in the right places. You have to collaborate with your team. You have to listen to your employees, as Mr. Connor stated, and make the best decisions.
Okay, I'll talk really fast. Textbook leadership style, I would say, I remember my college days, democratic and servant. What does that mean? I basically conduct myself as a presiding commissioner much like I do here. It pains me a lot of times to talk about what I've done here at Callaway for Callaway County, because I don't want the credit. I got a lot of people that work around me that work just as hard as I do, and those are the folks that are getting things done. When there's a problem, that's my fault. That's how I will serve this county, the elected officials, the employees. I'll have their back, we'll work hard, and we'll get some things done.
Okay, so we have another budget question. The county budget reflects the priorities of county government. What would be your top budget priority if elected presiding commissioner?
One of the main priorities if I was presiding commissioner would be handling the upkeep of expired infrastructure, roads and bridges. Years ago, this used to be known as the road bridge judge job. And I had a political science class at the zoo one time, and that's how the professor referred to it too. But roads and bridges have always been an issue for the commission, and that will continue to be. Much like workforce stuff and social needs when that comes around. But I still think roads and bridges are very, very important as far as infrastructure is involved.
Again, I will repeat myself. The core mission of the county commission: public safety, health, and infrastructure. commission actually has statutory obligations to support the departments. It's not a matter of pick and choose what's better than the other. There's actually statutory obligations of the county to take care of all the departments. As I said earlier, I think that any penny that is being spent outside of the core missions should be scrutinized. Moving forward, there's tough financial decisions that have to be made. The rate of inflation and the cost to the county for labor and equipment is outpacing the tax money. But I'm not asking for any more tax. That's not my answer. It's about looking for efficiencies in the tax dollars you're already providing.
Maybe I'll boil my response down to a very basic level. First priority, top priority is balanced budget. Pure and simple. No choice, no question, no option. I think law enforcement is very important to me. I believe it's important to this community. We need to make sure that, the sheriff's office gets the resources they need. That being people, that being equipment, training, on and on and on. From there, probably comes down to the rest of the department's offices in a shortfall, probably experiencing a little bit of pain until the deficit or the shortfalls can be worked through. But it first and foremost is going to start with a balanced budget, and law enforcement is top of my list.
Stronger batteries. Okay.
The emergency personnel, I feel, should be the first, because they're the ones that you call when anybody has an emergency out here. We gotta make sure that 911 is up on par. But we need a new 911 commission. And that's gonna take money. And we gotta get the budget in line so we can hit that short term, long term. And the emergency, I'd say, was number one, then the infrastructure would be number two. That is everybody's livelihood, to go to work, to the hospitals, to the doctor's offices. Thank you.
All right, so we've got time for one more question, and then we are going to let them do a quick wrap up. So, question is, if you get the position for presiding commissioner, what are you going to do in your first 100 days?
Just as I did when I took over sheriff January 1st, 2017, it's not a clean house situation. It's not a go in, flex your muscle, act like you're the county king. That's not it at all. What you have to do day one is start collaborating with your other elects or your county supervisors of the offices that do not have an elect and see what the needs are. The wants come after the needs. You have to absolutely determine what the needs are before the wants, and then you have to collaborate accordingly with the other commissioners to relate that to the county's budget situation.
My response will start with an apology to Mr. Scott and Mr. Warfield, because you're going to get sick of me in the first 100 days. We're going to get to know each other very well. We're going to get to know what's going on. We're going to figure out how we're going to work as a team, how to conquer and divide. From there, we're going to terrorize the rest of the county, people that are involved. This lady's high on my list. What is going on? What's being done? Where are we not having successes? where we need some help. You know, I'm gonna get to know the folks, the elected officials in the courthouse. They need to get to know me. And again, I'm gonna be there for them, help them in any way I can, stay out of their way, let them do their job. But be an asset to them, in every way I possibly can.
You don't go in cleaning house like the public wants you to do to try to figure out everything. You need to talk to the existing commissioners there, Curtis Warfield, Christopher Scott, and see where different departments need help at. And then you need to go talk to them and see what their concerns is, what they need or what they want. And if they need it, we need to figure out the budget to get what they need. And if they want it, we can put that on the budget on the next go around. And just to see what everybody needs for each department, supply it if we can.
I talk a lot about infrastructure, roads and bridges. There's this lady in the back that I visited with this morning out at the health center. And she let me know that how that health center is managed by the county commission. And they've come through for her with several grants and money that she needed at certain times of her career. So not only infrastructure, but I would say health. The health department is important in Callaway County. And of course, law enforcement is too. But those will be my priorities, and I think if we stick to priorities and listen and get the facts and figures correct, we can make decisions that can help out the economy and our community and our set of values. Thank you.
Okay, so at this time, they each have 1 minute for anything that they want to say to wrap up for their candidacy. Please stick to the 1 minute timer.
I appreciate your vote. I am not a politician. I'm your blue collar worker out here. I'll use my hands every day. And I know what's right from wrong. And I know how to tell people no, and I know how to tell people yes. That's been my job all my life. And I'm just a simple type of guy, easy to talk to. And I will listen to anybody that needs to talk or figure out what they're going through, whether it's road that they live on to the budget. There to listen.
Just want to emphasize one more time that Callaway County is a perfect mix of global history, outdoor scenic escapes, and a small town charm that accompanies Callaway County. And I hope that I can lead people into that future with that as my emphasis. And once again, I think transparency is very important, accountability is very important, and oversight over the people that you're appointing to boards, and whatever it may be, whether it's appointing a foreman at the county barn. I know they keep busy out there. We'd like to stay in contact with those people. And just make sure nothing gets out of control while presiding. Thank you.
Thank you. In closing, I feel the need to clarify a statement and a remark that was made. I have never, ever, ever once alleged that our county commission signed an NDA. But it's happened in other counties in the state. That's coming out. I will not do that here if elected as presiding commissioner. I understand the county's needs. I've lived in the trenches of this county. I'm not an office jockey. I believe when there's not meetings being held, the commissioners need to be out on the roads same citizens that pay their salary travel, and they constantly need to be out hearing the concerns and the needs of the county, then bring that back to the courthouse, collaborate with the fellow commissioners, and do whatever can be done to better the county. Thank you.
8 minutes. No, I had the opportunity to speak with an individual here Monday, I believe it was, and I touched on this earlier. I mentioned Mr. Youngerman, and I apologize to the associates that are in the room. I don't aim to leave you out. But thinking about the work Gary's done, and folks, let's go back to Mr. Fritz, who I think what was he reelected 5 times in this county. There's been a good track record of presiding commissioners in this county that truly cared about the county. I'm not perfect. They're probably not either. I love the conversation. I love the debate. I promise to always be respectful. I'll probably disappoint most of the people in this room before it's all said and done. But I will work hard, and I do care about this county. And I'd appreciate your consideration.
So, I just want to say something very quickly. Thank you, Larry, Mike, Clay, and Rob for being here tonight, for answering our questions. Can you just give them a round of applause? We greatly appreciate you guys being here. Please, everyone, mark your calendar for July 16th, and that's going to be at the Voss Community Center. We'll have some additional questions. We'll also be hearing from our state, our state, those candidates. I can't think, it's 7 o'clock, I need to eat. I appreciate y'all all coming out tonight. If you plan to linger in this room after we dismiss here, then you're going to be required to move tables and chairs. So just keep that in mind. Thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate it. Have a good evening.